All right, welcome to Matinee Prices. This is, I guess this will be episode 4.
Maybe.
We don't know what order we're going to air these in. But,
Episode. This is the next episode.
This is the next episode. This is the episode you're watching right now.
Episode Pi.
We're not going to say that all of our episodes will have a specific theme, but for right now they do. And I imagine most of them will have some sort of theme or connection.
Yeah. They'll definitely have connections.
Tonight's episode is, I would say, violence and gore. You know?
Okay.
Or
definitely violence.
Yeah. And gore.
And gore.
Yeah.
But
violence.
Through violence.
The theme. Yeah. So we're going to talk about 3 movies tonight. Those 3 movies are Cooties, Bone Tomahawk, and God Bless America.
God Bless America.
We're going to start with Cooties. Cooties is...
fantastic.
I can't say it, like, it's impossible. Like, you can see the smile on my face. It's impossible for me to talk about or even think about this movie, Cooties,
if
without
you're listening,
smiling.
You can't see the smile on his face.
Yeah.
It's a huge...
It's like
smile.
It's the movie equivalent of the song Love Shack. It is impossible not to be happy.
That's pretty good.
While listening, yeah, I know, right? It's like there's nobody who doesn't like Love Shack, and it's just like you just smile when you hear it, and you fucking love it.
Now, wait. The caveat to that small group of people who will not like Cooties.
This movie's not for everybody.
If you can't, because basically the premise is it's zombies. But now it only affects children who haven't gone through puberty, so young children.
Yeah, which hence the title Cooties.
Cooties.
Because the first kid who has the infection has these like sores and like is all messed up, and everybody's like, "Oh,
she's got cooties.
she's got cooties."
So
it's a
picture all the other zombie movies you've ever heard of or seen, and what happens to the zombies, and now they're happening to kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. But it's a dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy.
So if you can't take that joke, and you probably realize what joke we're talking about now. If you can't take that joke, then yes, this is not for you.
Yeah.
Skip forward 5 minutes, and we'll talk about when we talk about the next show. But for right now, Cooties.
But if you love the blending of extreme horror and gore and slapstick comedy,
yes,
this is right up your alley.
If you love Shaun of the Dead.
If you're I'd say that's the cutoff. Like if you couldn't stomach Shaun of the Dead, you definitely aren't going to be down for Cooties.
If you love Cabin in the Woods,
stuff like that, yeah. So it's like you're like 1 minute you're laughing your ass off, and the next minute you're seeing one of the goriest deaths you've ever seen.
Zombieland. If you love
Zombieland, kind of like that.
So this movie had Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson from The Office, playing a gym teacher.
In
my opinion, playing the character he was born to play.
Fantastic.
Elijah Wood is kind of the bookish wannabe writer.
Yep.
Nasim Pedrad, you know her from Saturday Night Live and the show Scream Queens.
Yep.
Lee Winnell was in it, and he also co-wrote the film, and he's the one who did the Saw movies.
Yep.
So
you know the horror there.
And not just the horror, but like just gore, like really intense gore.
Don't forget 30 Rock.
And Jack McBrayer, Kenneth from 30 Rock.
He's kind of doing the same guy.
And the same guy he played in 30 Rock, the same guy he played in Talladega Nights. He's Kenneth Brayer. Jack McBrayer. He's Kenneth. They're interchangeable. Like he just kind of is that guy.
Yeah.
But so basically. Some kid, it's a foodborne virus that affects kids who haven't gone through puberty yet.
And they get turned into zombies.
They get turned into like ravenous, feral, cannibal monsters.
So it's kill or be killed.
It's kill or be killed.
You either kill the kids or
the kids kill you.
Yeah, you get killed by the kids.
Exactly. And it's a small group of teachers.
Hilarity ensues.
They're
trapped in a school and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, and we're not really going to talk about the plot or anything because we don't want to be giving anything away. Basically, we just like... we don't have to talk a lot about this. Basically,
Jorge.
Jorge from Lost.
From Lost, yeah. He's in it too. Like,
Garcia.
Really? From what we've just described, you don't want to see this movie?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're that small group that was like, no, I don't want to see this movie.
Yeah.
But if you're not in that small group, trust me, you want to see this movie.
And it's one of those movies where, like, I had never, like, me hearing about this movie was when I stumbled upon the trailer one day. Like, I was just watching movie trailers and I went down a wormhole of like, oh, this trailer. And I saw the trailer for Cooties, and my first thought was, I have to see this movie. It's one of the, like, I was like, oh, this movie is just tailor-made for, like, my mindset, where I am that perfect, like, because I love horror and gore, and I love kind of like Mel Brooks, Zucker Brothers-esque slapstick comedy, and it's like it's right there in the middle.
Let me tell you something. So
Get 'em.
You could tell already, from the cast and the crew. I saw the trailer. Oh, this is gonna be great. It's got the slapstick. It's got the horror. It's got the gore. It's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be dark. There was a moment. This is when it took that next step level up for me. This movie. There was a moment in the movie.
I know what you're gonna say.
No, you don't. I don't think you do.
All right, go
because
ahead.
there's a moment in the movie when it got really quiet and really tense.
Oh yeah.
And I was scared. Like it was like, holy crap, this is amazing. It was Shining-esque.
It manages to do both.
It was amazing, and I think it was a nod to The Shining.
Oh yeah,
because it was the way it was done.
Yeah,
and
now
you know if you see this, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
But I mean, it got tense. Yeah. Like there was no laughing. There was no gross. None of that. It just like had me on pins and needles. And that's when I was like, okay, this. And that was like a third of the way through. And I was like, all right, this movie, we got to talk about this movie.
One of my first thoughts was when I saw the trailer and then like I heard that the movie had come out and it didn't really do well at the box office, and my first thought was, oh, this is one of those movies where they put all the good shit in the trailer and the movie doesn't match the trailer.
It only did $55,000.
The movie the trailer is amazing. The movie is so much better than the trailer. Like,
watch it.
The fun, like you'd be like, "Oh, they put all the funniest shit in the trailer." Nope. They did not put the best shit in the trailer.
Watch it.
You have no idea. Watch it. It ends. Not saying like anything about how it ends, but like it's one of those where it ends. You're like, make the sequel right now.
Right now.
Right freaking now, because it does kind of end where it's like, okay, there's more to this, and and there should be a sequel. And I would say like.
Hopefully there will be a
crowdsourcing. Exactly. Yeah. I'd give them some money.
Yeah.
Because I would say they intentionally did it like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're going to give you this amazing movie, but the way it ends, you're like, okay, clearly there's more to tell.
We're probably going to jump on that after this show.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Cooties.
Cooties.
Great movie. Check it out.
Yeah. Cooties.
So now we're going to talk about again sticking to the violence, but in a complete 180. We're going to talk about Bobcat Goldthwait. He like if you only know Bobcat Goldthwait from Police Academy
or Stand Up,
then that's kind of like saying you only know Joe Rogan from Fear Factor. Like if you've never seen Joe Rogan stand up, it is amazing.
But we're not talking about Joe
We're not talking about, but just the analogy.
Yeah.
But Bobcat Goldthwait is such a smart, articulate filmmaker.
Despite his voice.
He's made, and maybe there's been another one, but at my count, he's made 4 movies, and every one is an improvement. He made a great, dark comedy starring Robin Williams called World's Greatest Dad. His first movie was Shakes the Clown, which starred him and a pre-Saturday Night Live Adam Sandler, Florence Henderson. Sanford and Son. Fred's nemesis.
Grady?
No, the lady. That was,
Esther.
Esther, yeah. She has a little bit in it. I think Milton Berle even has a cameo in it.
Man,
but go back and watch Shakes the Clown.
I remember Milton Berle.
But and cameo by Robin Williams.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about God Bless America. And what I was telling Huru because I just recently saw this movie, but I heard about it a long time ago. But I said my idea for reviewing God Bless America would just be me standing and applauding for 10 minutes. And I'm going to do that right now. Bobcat Goldthwait, you freaking killed it, man. You made an amazing movie, and I'm glad you exist.
That was not 10 minutes. Just pretend it was 10 minutes because we're strapped for time.
This movie spoke to me in levels I can't even articulate.
And we don't have time.
It's one of those movies that you see it, and if you're of a specific mindset and a specific political bent, he's saying and doing in this movie everything that you've wanted to say and do, because it's basically about a guy who just sees what the world is becoming with trashy reality show and these MTV shows like 16 and Pregnant and like My Super Sweet 16. and American Idol and the Kardashians and
it is the new millennium version of Falling Down. If you've seen or heard of Falling Down,
great
Michael Douglas,
great analogy.
The person who's, well, I guess you could even go even further back. The person who's sick and tired and is not going to take it anymore. Obviously, a quote. Hopefully, you know what movie that's from. But a person who's, you know, and granted he kind of becomes the problem in his solution through violence, because part of the problem in our country and even in most societies is violence. But he's sort of sick and tired of it, and he's not going to take it anymore. And you see the ramifications, the consequences of his actions, and who he brings into his world, I guess, his craziness.
Yeah.
Which is still brilliant. Bobcat is brilliant. This movie is brilliant.
Bobcat is brilliant, and you will probably no big stars in this movie. It does star one of Bill Murray's brothers, Joel Murray, who you would know him from. He played John Cusack's buddy in the hilarious cult classic One Crazy Summer. He was Cusack's buddy in One Crazy Summer.
Right.
Not a big star, the character actor, but he's one of those guys you're like, oh, I've seen him before. Bill Murray's brother.
Tara Lynn Barr.
Tara Lynn Barr
is the female lead, and she does a fantastic job. She is so much fun. She's cute. She's lovable. She'll make you laugh. She kicks some ass. You know, like she was. You could make another connection with Leon the Professional. This one,
the relationship. It doesn't get to that weird
quite that poetic.
Yeah,
this is more with a hammer or a sledgehammer.
Exactly. And I feel like with Leon the Professional, and that's an amazing movie, but in Leon the Professional, they almost had, despite the age difference, they almost had like a romantic thing going on.
It was romantic, but it almost got, you know, even more. But
it walked the level of creepiness.
It walked a line, yeah.
But in God Bless America, and he even
he touches on it.
He even touches on it about how society has this weird fascination with like sexualizing young girls
and oversexed,
and it just and him even thinking about it or talking about it, you know, makes him uncomfortable. Like at one point, she's like, you know, well, am I pretty? And he's like, well, I shouldn't be saying that because you're a child and I'm an adult. Because you shouldn't say that or think those thoughts. And
that was the last level, because that was the easy way out, was to do that.
Yeah.
You know, to have them have like even a moment.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He concentrated on what he wanted to say, what he wanted to do, and did it.
Yeah. It's like
I was impressed.
He had found like a compatriot, and I don't want to say soulmate, but like he had found someone who got him. It's just that person just happened to be a kid.
Yeah.
But it never goes to a weird place. And in fact, it like makes a point to say, no, that shit is wrong and creepy, and that's one of the things that's wrong with society. And
so this movie will not get sidetracked if you're like, oh, and then let me guess, they're gonna get together.
There's gonna be a romantic weirdness.
No, you don't have to worry about that. That's cool. So definitely check this thing out.
Yeah, imagine Bonnie and Clyde in a iPad Kim Kardashian world, except, you know, Bonnie and Clyde are a grown man and a teenage girl. But it's, what was the tag? Taking out the trash one asshole at a time?
One asshole at a time.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, it's just a guy, and he's just fed up with the world, and he's going to do something about it. Yeah. And there's this great interview on the DVD where Bobcat Goldthwait was like, you know, this is a satire, because, and he made a point to say, like, I'm not a violent person, I detest violence, I have made a satire, but it's basically, and it's like the running theme of the movie. He's just like, the guy's just like, why can't you be nice?
Right.
Why can't the world just be a nice place to live anymore? And it's like the world has gotten very trashy and exploitative, and he ain't having it anymore.
Yeah.
And he decides to do something about it. And like I said, if you're of a specific mindset, kind of like Huru and I, it's like, a lot of the stuff that happens in this movie is the things that was like, oh, I've wanted to do that. I wish I had the balls to do that, but I'm not going to. But it's nice to see it, because I'm not a violent person either, but it is like a nice visceral release to see someone doing these things that, like, in your darkest moments, in your, like, those moments where you're just fed up with the world, where you're like, I get how someone could do that. Not glorifying it, not saying it's okay. And if you see the movie, like you'll get it. But
watch it.
Watch it. Bobcat Goldthwait. He's a true artist. You know, the word genius is thrown around a little too liberally nowadays, so I'm not going to say he's a genius. He's an amazing filmmaker, and he definitely has a unique voice and a unique way of articulating what he thinks.
Yeah. So pretend he didn't even throw the word genius out there.
Yeah. And I did. Because like I said, that's like, every time somebody does something remotely impressive, someone labels them a genius. Bobcat Goldthwait is a great filmmaker, and like I said, he's got a unique voice. And I'm not just talking about the way he talked in the Police Academy movies.
Oh my God.
But
so moving on.
Check it out, please.
So moving on.
Oh, and we should give Larry Miller.
Larry Miller.
If you're familiar with Christopher Guest's films like Best in Show and A Mighty Wind and like his mockumentaries, Larry Miller has, I wouldn't even say a cameo. He's got, he's in a couple of scees. He has a bit part in it. If you're a fan of Larry Miller,
oh my God,
he's in it also. And
drinking at a bar with the devil, or the
skiing, and now the devil is pouring the drinks.
Skiing down the bus.
And say it with me, I will never do this again as long as I live.
Larry
Miller.
Cool.
Now we're moving on, and again, we're going to take another 180. We've discussed two movies that portray violence / gore in completely different ways. Now we're going to talk about a little seen or hardly at all seen Western that came out in 2014.
14, 15.
Called Bone Tomahawk. And this was another one of those movies where I saw the preview and I said, I can't wait to see this. And it was also around the time when the preview for Hateful Eight started making the rounds. And I was like, wow, Kurt Russell's very few Westerns are being made. And the fact that Kurt Russell was in
both of these
Westerns in the same year, I was like, well, that's pretty impressive. Or roughly the same year.
I mean, he had the beard and the mustache. He might as well. He
could have gone from one set to the other. He could have been shooting them simultaneously.
Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk. The premise is it's your standard premise. It's kind of like The Searchers, that old John Wayne film. Some renegade Indians invade this town, kidnap a couple of people. Kurt Russell throws together a posse. They're going to go rescue them. Very simple plot, but you have not seen a Western like this before.
I haven't seen a Western like that before.
No one has seen a Western like this before because no one's made a Western like this before. And I was telling my buddy Mac, the one thing I compare it to, without giving too much away, is like not in any sort of genre relation, but I would compare it to the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, where for a solid hour you've got a movie about these two gangsters, like a Godfathers and Desperados movie about these two bank robbers who have killed some people, and they're just trying to get across the Mexican border. Hour and 10 minutes into the movie, boom, it's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
And it comes out of nowhere. And Bone Tomahawk kind of takes a turn like that. Not that it becomes a vampire movie, it's just the tone shifts completely.
Yeah. A 180, if you will.
A 180, if you will. And obviously we're talking about it gets because the theme for this episode is violence and gore.
Yeah.
This movie gets violent and gory. Almost out of nowhere.
Not even out. Well, I mean, there was already.
There's a little hint at the beginning, but you don't know.
Well, it's a Western, so already there's people getting shot, and it's a Western. There's killing people, and they're dying.
But that one scene, one thing.
Yeah.
When you see the movie, you're gonna know the one thing I'm talking about.
I saw it before him, and I told him how I was like, all right, look. And he was like, "Oh, does this?" I was like, "No, this is a scene." Oh, what is it like? No, you're gonna know.
Yeah,
the
he's
scene.
like, "You don't even.
You don't know. You're not gonna be ready for the scene."
But when it happens, and I was like, "That's the scene he was talking about." Hey, no doubt, that's what he was talking about.
He's like, "Well, that was it right there." I was like, and I had to take a break. I had to take a walk and kind of walk it off. I'm like, man, I'm watching. What do we call this? Oh yeah, a movie. I'm watching a film here.
Yeah.
Let me just take a moment. But all right, it's Kurt Russell, it's Matthew Fox, David Arquette was in there.
David Arquette and Sid Haig. If you're a fan of Rob Zombie's films, Sid Haig, who played Captain Spaulding in Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, he has a little bit part.
That's right.
David Arquette.
Once again, Richard Jenkins. We're gonna
Jenkins.
do it's
This could just be called the Richard Jenkins Appreciation Show because we're always going to find a way to come back to Richard Jenkins.
And we didn't realize this sort of came to us in the past week or so when we were trying to do
this. He's been in a bunch of our favorite movies. He's just kind of that guy.
Oh, there's Richard Jenkins and this and this and that. Hey, there's Richard Jenkins again.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't Richard Jenkins in the man? Richard Jenkins is the fucking man.
It's like he's in Cabin in the Woods, Me, Myself, and Irene, The Visitor, Let Me In.
Let Me In.
Which we talked about in a previous show.
Yeah. Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Richard Jenkins.
Matthew Fox, if you're a fan of Lost or Party of Five, if you're like, where's that guy been? Well, he's in this movie and he's amazing.
Point. He was in
Vantage Point.
Yeah.
Stuart Wilson, if you've seen the movie Hard Candy or Watchmen, he played Night Owl in Watchmen. He's great in it. Probably a couple other people that we're just overlooking or forgetting that they were in it, but I think that's kind of the principal cast. That's definitely the people you're going to recognize.
Yeah.
But again, it takes a traditional genre, the Western. It's been done. Like as long as movies have existed, people have been making Westerns. Like Westerns is one of the few true American art forms. It's like there's the Western and there's jazz, and there's really not much else that we didn't just take from another culture or country. Hip hop, yeah. Hip-hop. But you could say that's just progression of jazz from blues and stuff.
Right, but it's still out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Western is a truly American genre that, like I said, the first Westerns were made almost 100. Like,
here's a question that
probably 100 years old.
I've been meaning to ask you: the Clint Eastwood trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Are those American films or are those Italian?
I think they were filmed in Italy,
right?
With Italian crews,
right?
And then they just got some American actors to be in it. I think.
So is it an American film or an Italian film?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to go back to like who directed it, and like ultimately, I guess it would come down to who financed and produced it.
Okay.
That would be the only factor, but they they were called the spaghetti westerns, because they were filmed in Italian, and they were all kind of defined by the score of Ennio Morricone.
Yeah.
But and they would bring over like the American actors would be the principal cast, but I imagine a lot of the supporting cast and bit parts were probably just Italian day players, like Italian like little supporting actors that they got to be in the movie. But that was just one of those things. It was like I think those were for financial reasons. It's just that it was way cheaper to film in Italy than America.
Okay.
And I could be wrong about that, but that's always been my understanding.
Yeah,
we'll do an episode about spaghetti westerns, and
we ain't perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's kind of like the vampire genre. When you've got a type of film that's been around for so long, you have to do something unique. You can't just like in this day and age, you really can't just make a traditional Western anymore because you've seen it so many times. But if you can make a traditional Western in setting and scope and atmosphere, and then add this other thing to it, and it gives you a traditional Western, the cinematography, I'd say, it's very evocative of the old John Ford and Howard Hawks Westerns of the 40s and 50s in scope and look, but in tone, it's completely different. It's not like a movie like, Bone Tomahawk wouldn't have gotten made in 1948.
We don't want to take too much of your time because I think you know where we're going with this.
Yeah.
But
it's intense.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell is kind of one of those guys, like they're not making a lot of Westerns nowadays, but if you're making a Western, you should put Kurt Russell in it. He's done a handful.
They're not making a lot of people like Kurt Russell nowadays.
He's just the man.
He's Kurt Russell.
He's Kurt Russell, and it comes through. And I was thinking about it. Oddly enough, David Arquette has been in a bunch of Westerns because he was in the Lonesome Dove made-for-TV movie, and he was in that movie Ravenous with Robert Carlyle.
Yeah, that's right, he was.
And he was in Wild Bill, a very underrated movie with Jeff Bridges and Ellen Barkin, which is very much like Deadwood, because Wild Bill was in the first few episodes of Deadwood.
Right.
But it kind of tells the story of him arriving in Deadwood and then getting killed. But David Arquette has a small role in that.
Okay.
So it's like, you've got these guys that are, like, they look like they fit into this environment, like Kurt Russell and David Arquette, and Richard Jenkins is playing like a very tried and true staple of the Western. He's kind of he's the drunk deputy. He's a little past his prime. He starts the day with a bottle of whiskey. He's rarely sober enough to be efficient, but he's Richard Jenkins, and
he's slightly touched in the head a little bit.
Either
from age or drinking or just the West.
Yeah. Or just
lack of Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
Obamacare.
Yeah.
but he's amazing. The fact that we're talking about that's another aspect. There's the drinking, there's the fact that he's old, there's the fact even besides that, he might be touched in the head
a little bit,
and he might be the best thing in the movie.
Yeah,
and that's not slighting the movie. That's just like that movie's amazing. And then
I feel like he gets
sprinkles.
I feel like he has the majority of the dialogue. Like he probably talks more than
because his character,
and that's kind of the thing. Like people are always telling him to shut up. Like don't bring that up again.
Oh my god.
It doesn't shy away from like the harshness of the reality that was the Old West. Yes. It doesn't try to glamorize it. It's like the Old West was a miserable time to live. Just making it through the day was an accomplishment. Yeah. Finding something to eat, not dying of cholera or sepsis. Just
a million ways to die in the West. Kind of joked about that.
Made it into
this movie was like, no, seriously, like you could take a turn. You hit a splinter.
We're going to need to wrap up here.
And then that was it. So that'd be done. So we're going to wrap it up because we're losing juice and camera and power. So Bone Tomahawk. See it.
Bone Tomahawk. God bless America. And to that I'd say God bless Bobcat Goldthwait because he made a great, great film. And I can't wait to see what he does next. And Cooties.
And Cooties.
Check them all out.
Check them all out.
I'm Cameron Price.
I'm still Daryl. Last name Price.
And come back and check us out. We'll do better next time.
We'll try and do better next time.